Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
Seen this movie?
I'm sorry, Captain. This is a restricted area. I can't let you pass without clearance. Okay. Come here. You want to see my clearance? Maybe I'll just leave this here with you. Let him pass. Let him pass.
Will Smith, Independence Day, a movie about aliens invading Earth. But now the United Nations is getting ready for a contact with aliens from outer space. This is Moslin Othman. She's out of Malaysia. She will be planet Earth's first interstellar diplomat. And Michio Kaku is a theoretical physics professor, also host of the Science Channel series, Sci-Fi Science Physics of the Impossible, which is doing great, by the way. How are you doing, by the way?
Very good.
Nice to see you, Michio. And I don't know, is this a goofy idea? Is this a serious idea? What in the world is the UN doing involved in this?
Well, don't expect flying saucers to land on the White House lawn anytime soon, announcing, "Take me to your leader." It sounds like a goofball idea, but here's the rationale. Sometime later this year, maybe early next year, astronomers will announce that we have discovered Earth-like twins in outer space. And when we gaze out the night sky, somebody may be gazing back at us. But it's not going to be a two-way conversation. It's not like E.T. phone home. It's going to be a one-way conversation, eavesdropping on aliens from outer space, perhaps.
So even if we were able to send a signal, how would we communicate?
That's exactly right. If you have a message in a bottle in the ocean, you can't communicate back to the people sending the message in a bottle, right?
Which makes it seem all kind of strange and goofy. I can understand if you came up with the idea. I can understand if NASA came up with the idea. But what about the United Nations?
I think they want to stake a claim because right now there are no protocols. There's no way to address an alien ambassador. There's no way to set up how trade would be, how communications and information would be exchanged. So I think they want to like put a stake in the ground and say, we claim this in the name of the United Nations.
Now I know there are others who believe in life in outer space, and they believe perhaps they've even touched down here on planet Earth already. Mm-hmm. But the point that you make about these satellites in the coming year, the Kepler and is it the Karate satellite?
Yeah, the Karate satellite.
They're
French
looking
satellite.
deep into space, right?
That's right.
They might be able to find signs of life.
That's right.
But the signs of life would be like, they'd be microbes, right?
Probably.
Michio's walking around up there.
No. So far we have found 500 giant planets in outer space, but none of them are Earth-like. And that's where the Kepler, a U.S. satellite, and Kourou, a French satellite, are the wild cards. Sometime later this year or next year, we expect them to announce. Astronomers will announce that we found it. The Holy Grail, an Earth-like twin in outer space. But that doesn't mean they have Fox News. That doesn't mean they have TV, radio.
Or the Science Channel, right? Now, do you know Moslin Othman, the woman out of Malaysia? Have you heard of her before?
No, I've never heard of her. It's the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs, a very obscure agency of the UN.
Right. Very obscure, I would say. Well, we've tried this before. Was it 1977? We sent a message to outer space and...
On the Pioneer, the Voyager.
That got us nowhere, did it?
Right. And first, I think it's premature for us to announce our presence in outer space until we know their intentions, right? I mean, they may view us as lunch, in which case maybe it's a good idea to keep ourselves a little bit obscure.
And as someone said, if they're looking for intelligent life, they don't want to start the United Nations. That was what they said anyway. Michio, thank you. We'll see how the department does, and who knows, maybe they'll give us an interview. And so when that alien touches down and watches your program, by gosh, you can give him the signal.
Okay.
Thank you, Michio.
We told you about a possible missile, rocket, or maybe airplane that was seen off the coast of California on Monday. Today, there still aren't many answers as to what it actually was, but one woman says she has some answers. You'd be surprised to find out where she's getting her information from. Colleen Thomas is a home health administrator turned physicist who specializes in the science of creation. And she's the mother of a race of good aliens here on Earth called Pleiadians. She says she knows exactly what happened with that missile. And she joins me now from Roseville, California. Colleen, thanks so much for joining me. First of all, tell me what you know about what happened with that supposed missile.
It was I got in my ear, as it were, as I was sleeping, that it was a missile fire, President Obama trying to start a war with Iran. The Pleiadians downed the missile harmlessly at sea, and then last night from San Diego, our government fired another ICBM at the Pleiadians this time. But the Pleiadian ships are able to change density and do all kinds of things that these guys on this planet have never imagined. And a rocket could pass right through them and not harm them. And plus, they can outrun it too if they wanted to just get out of the way. But it's really kind of silly to think that we can take on a race that's been around for many, many, many millions of eons longer than the reptilians.
And really briefly, Colleen, some people might not know exactly who the Pleiadians were. So why would President Obama want to fire an ICBM at the Pleiadians?
Because they're here to rescue the human beings who are being enslaved on this planet and forced into a paradigm of a super oligarchy that favors the Bilderberg Group and the Illuminati and is completely and utterly without any conscience towards the human beings whatsoever. They poison us deliberately in order for us to have to buy pharmaceuticals so that they can string our miserable little lives along on pharmaceuticals for the rest of our aging days. There's no need for us to be in the kind of physical condition that we are in. But they put chemtrails in collusion with BP, British Petroleum. They put chemicals in jet fuel, and those chemicals end up getting sprayed in these minute particulates that rain down on our food, on our crops, and in our water. There's lithium in those chemtrails. There's also fluoride and a lot of other heavy metals that are dispersed in the air as chaff, so that the American government can talk to one another militarily without being listened in upon by other foreign countries. They know this stuff is toxic for us, but there's money in toxifying us, and so they work in collusion with the pharmaceutical companies with these backdoor deals, changing the laws and making everything favorable for these guys, but not favorable for the humans whatsoever. Humans are just commerce to these people, and they're also meat to these people. They not only kill and eat us, they sell our dead bodies on a meat market of their own kind that goes passing by here every 50 years. And I got that straight from a CIA agent.
And, I know that you say that you have contact with the Pleiadians. How often do they talk to you? And what else do they say about the current situation in the United States right now? We're in a recession. There's talk about China surpassing us in the economy. I'm curious what the Pleiadians have to say about all of those issues, too.
They are working towards the peace of this planet and towards eradicating us of our draconian reptilian infestation. China actually fired an EMP weapon in the Pacific Ocean last night. Its target was an American warship full of fighter planes, and it was on its way towards China and up to absolutely no good whatsoever. So China disabled the ship with an EMP weapon. We spent most of the night last night evacuating everybody that was on that ship off because it was completely dead. No electronics whatsoever survived the EMP pulse.
Wow, well, it sounds like you've had your hands full these days. You've been very busy, and the Pleiadians definitely sound like they have an interesting analysis on what's going on here in the United States and across the world. Colleen Thomas, a home health administrator, I really appreciate your time with us. Thank you so much.
Trust. Do you trust the government?